Here's the deal. Teams win and lose games all the time. Not that special. Teams win and lose playoff games all the time. Also not that special. Teams win and lose in the Super Bowl all the time too. You can argue that's a little bit more special, but still. You see that happen all the time. You see it every week in terms of the regular season. Every season with the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Teams win and lose all the time. Players come and players go. Rarely are you beholden to the experience of something truly magnificent, something truly earth-shattering, something that truly moves you to the very fiber, the essence, and the core of your being. It is very rare that you see true history made. Patrick Mahomes' 2018 season, 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. Been there, we've seen that before. Lamar Jackson certainly had a special year last year. He was league MVP, but then him and his team gagged in the divisional round because they couldn't stop Derrick Henry and they couldn't consistently move the ball through the air. We've been there, we've certainly seen plenty of one seeds over the year lose their divisional round game at home. But man, 2019 brought us something truly special, truly remarkable, and truly legendary. And I wanted to make sure we took time to reflect on the greatness of Jameis Winston and the pursuit of the 30-30 season. No matter what anybody wants to say about it, it was once in a lifetime. It was truly spectacular. You were there for every nut-hugging, ball-busting, fingernail-rattling, biting moment of it. He brought excitement to the game last year on a scale that I don't know that I've ever seen. Because you could truly say, from a pure box office and entertainment value standpoint, is that he could be great, he could be train wreck, but no matter what, you couldn't take your eyes off of him because you never truly knew what was going to happen from one moment to the next. He was just as likely to throw a touchdown to his own team as he was to the opposing team. And as the season went along, and you're like, he's throwing all these touchdowns, but he's also throwing all these picks. You get to the point where you realize a 30-30 season can actually happen. A 30-30 season could be real. And you never realized until that moment just how much you wanted it, just how much you needed it, just how much you craved it. From your toes to your perineum to your dick liquor or your cunt liquor, depending on how you swing. We all needed it. We all wanted it. And by God, thank the football gods, we got it. And what a perfect way to close out that 2019 regular season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than to go to overtime, wasn't it, against the Falcons and throw the pick six and lose it. Something truly special, something truly remarkable, and something I don't know that we will ever see the likes of in our day. So let us make sure that we take time to remember it, reflect upon it, and enjoy what it was, because it was one hell of a ride. But certainly is not a surprise as a result, because of what happened, that Bruce Arians, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, decided they wanted to make some changes this offseason. And boy, did they ever. And it still feels weird to say it after literally 2 decades, 20 seasons being in New England. Tom Brady is now the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now you can look at this and you could say, Tom kind of looked washed in that wild card round game in Foxborough in January against the Titans, and you know what? He kind of did. Now you could argue that, he didn't have the skill talent there and they weren't getting open, they weren't being explosive in and out of breaks, they weren't making plays. Certainly will not have that problem here in Tampa with Evans and Godwin as his 2 top targets at wide receiver, but my God, Tom Brady is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting quarterback. It still sounds weird. It's going to feel weird. It's going to look weird the first time you see him suit up in the regular season as a quarterback for somebody other than New England. But not only that, they were able to coax Rob Gronkowski out of retirement. So Gronk, after taking off 2019, is back in the fold and healthy and raring to go for 2020. He said, yeah, in the meantime, I killed some time. I hosted WrestleMania, won the 24/7 title. Even Gronk realized how crappy the WWE is today and said, you know what? No, I'd rather go wreck my body for another year playing football with Tom in Tampa. Well, I mean, this is a big deal. These are two notable guys, two future Hall of Famers that you're bringing into the fold. Not all the time that you get to do this. And then they brought back all of the key guys from their defensive front, and Shaq Barrett and Jace Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh. They're all back in the fold for 2020. And then late here, just a week or two before the season starts, the Jaguars cut Leonard Fournette and they bring Fournette into the fold. And let's see how he mixes into that backfield along with Rojo and others. So some big changes certainly made for the Buccaneers in this offseason. Jameis Winston is gone and off to the division rival New Orleans Saints. If there is a God, even if it's just because they sit out Drew Brees for a game just for a hangnail or something, just to see Jameis come back and play one game against the Buccaneers and throw a pick six against them. God, would that be magnificent? But anyways, you look at the NFL draft. Certainly made sense. You bring Tom Brady in the fold, you need to protect him. So they drafted Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa in the first round. I think he's going to start on the right side at tackle. Again, made sense. You needed to get better on the offensive line. Then they got Antoine Winfield Jr. in the second round. Certainly expect him to be a guy that can come in and make a difference in the back end of that secondary pretty quickly. I think if you're the Buccaneers, if you're a Buccaneers fan, if you're that organization, you have a lot of reasons to be excited. There's a lot of potential and promise here. There certainly is. What they did this offseason changes the landscape, at least for the moment. And I will admit it's hard not to get caught up in some of the hype because you've got Brady and Gronk, who I'm still confident can play. And they bring a lot of championship experience, a lot of big game experience, and having that kind of calming presence there and that kind of comfort level in clutch and big time, big moment, big pressure situations certainly can be infectious in a good way to the rest of that organization, the rest of that roster. You've got great weapons in the passing game, not just Gronk coming back in the fold. I'm assuming that he will play somewhat similar to Gronk levels of the past. But obviously, you've got Mike Evans, you've got Chris Godwin, arguably the best 1-2 wide receiver combination in the entire damn league. You've got them in the fold. So whereas Brady could question the caliber and level of weapons that he had last year in New England, you don't have to question that here at all in Tampa. That's not the issue. And you look at them defensively, I really like their front seven. They've got some playmakers there. They've got some real talent there. Shaq Barrett, JPP, Sue. And you go to the linebacking core. You've got last year's first round pick Devin White, and you've got Levante David still. You've got some dudes there. The point I'm getting at is this front seven to me is legit. This front seven is at least playoff worthy, if not more so. So you take that combined with a veteran championship caliber quarterback, a great skill set of talent at the wide receiver and tight end positions. The needle is certainly pointing up for the Buccaneers this year. I mean, even then, you got to wonder how much do Brady and Gronk have left in the tank. Gronk took a year off. It's not easy to just take a year off and come back. How much damage was truly done to his body? How long will he actually be able to stay healthy? And you talk about Tom Brady, there was a downturn in play in 2019, and it certainly made itself very evident in the playoffs. And while some of that was the talent around him for sure, some of that seemingly will fall on the 42, 43-year-old starting quarterback too. How much do they really have left in the tank? It's you're really trying to get in while you can against borrowed time. And Father Time always wins. What will this running game bring to the table? In theory, I would like to see Ronald Jones be able to produce a lot more in 2020. But what's Leonard Fournette going to do? Is he going to play kind of the LeGarrette Blount type of role? That's certainly potentially something I could envision here. Or this is a running game that struggled quite a bit in 2019. Will they be able to get more out of it this upcoming year? And then how will that young secondary do? This is a secondary with a lot of young guys back there. Now, it may not matter as much because of that great front seven and some of their abilities to get to the quarterback consistently. But if they don't, could they be in some trouble? So I'm not ready to break out the anointing oil just yet for them all the way. But, I got to admit, like I'm trying to hedge my bets here a little bit, but I really can't. Like I'm buying the hype at least for this year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like if nothing else, when you look at Brady versus Winston, and even if you say, well, Brady's not going to throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in his offense, or 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns in this offense, you're right, he probably won't, and that's okay. What they can't afford to have are the 30 interceptions. They can't afford that volatility and instability in that offense. Like what Brady's going to bring is more of a calming presence. So even if he plays from a numbers standpoint, similar to what he did last year in New England, somewhere around 4,000 yards, maybe 25 to 28 touchdowns, 7 to 10 interceptions, something along that line. Like this team is probably going to be better and significantly better because of it. And they're going to win some of those games that they lost last year because Jameis kept shooting himself and the team in the damn foot. Like that's a difference, and it's a market difference. And that's why I think this is a 12-win football team, and that's why I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will actually win the AFC South, not the New Orleans Saints, not the Atlanta Falcons, certainly not the Panthers. Like I look at them, and I like the core of what they got here, and I like what Brady represents for them at least this year. So they're my pick to go and win the NFC South, and then we'll see what happens come playoff time.